Well, hello, everybody. Welcome, everybody who's watching. Thank you so much for being here, guys. Thank you, everyone who's watching the replay. And, of course, thank you, everyone who's joining over at the Zach Milne Talks Movies podcast, which is now everywhere that you can get podcasts, guys. We're talking the Juggernauts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, all those places, guys. You can listen to every episode of Zach Milne Talks Live on the podcast now. And I got to say a big thank you to you podcasters out there, because we had a pretty successful launch, guys. Thank you, everybody. I mean, look at this: a download in India, download in France, 2 downloads in France, 3 in Ireland, Bulgaria, United States, United Kingdom, Algeria. I've never had my voice in those areas of the world before. So thank you, everybody who downloaded the podcast from wherever you are. And welcome to today's episode. And thank you for joining, guys. It's a big one today. I've been waiting a couple days now to talk about this. Obviously, this stuff was all announced, all done on Saturday at Comic-Con. Marvel had their big panel. I was with my friend Chillmonger last week. We talked about predictions and what we thought was going to come of that panel, as well as DC. And, well, let's just say we didn't exactly get it right. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Luke Ponto's in here. What's up, my man? My man, Zach, what's going on, bro? Just got done with a movie draft, and I'm ready to talk some Marvel. Well, glad you're here, Luke. Thank you so much for being here, man. So excited to talk about some Marvel with you, man. And yeah, Marvel came swinging. Okay, so to be fair, let's talk a little bit about DC, because last week we did talk about DC predictions and all that stuff. So before we get to the Marvel announcements and everything that was announced at Marvel, let's talk a little bit about what DC announced, what they brought to Comic-Con. All right, so Marvel brought yeah, I mean, not to be mean on DC or anything, but I was disappointed with the DC panel. Just really quick, they really only brought like 2 trailers, one for Black Adam, one for Shazam. Which the Shazam trailer I thought looked kind of fun. Zachary Levi's great in the role once again. All of that stuff looked fine, but the panel itself I found a little bit disappointed. We didn't really get much from DC, and you know what? That's fine. Maybe they're saving all that stuff for DC fandom, but we got a lot from Marvel. And first off the bat, I just got to say that last week or 2 weeks ago, I did a video. I think it was a whole live stream even. The whole live stream was dedicated around this topic of the 10 most anticipated projects of Phase 4 still yet to come. Well, you can take that video and throw it in the dumpster, can't you? Because Kevin Feige came out on Saturday. He came out swinging. He came out with the announcement. This comes from comicbook.com, who's recounting the announcement. Feige runs through the highlights of Phase 4. She-Hulk and Black Panther: Wakanda Forever will be the final titles in Phase 4. Feige unveils the Phase 5 slate. That was a big surprise, which includes new titles such as Captain America: New World Order, Daredevil: Born Again, an 18-episode series. We're going to talk about that. Agatha: Coven of Chaos, so we got a new title for that show. And it will all culminate with Thunderbolts in July of 2024. And Thunderbolts will have a roster which include characters we haven't even met yet. Well, there you go, guys. Phase 4 is ending this November with Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. And they finally showed the trailer of Wakanda Forever at Comic-Con. We're definitely going to talk about that real soon. But first, let's talk about the slates, because we got a lot of stuff, guys. So first off, Kevin Feige brought out Phase 5, and he laid it out on the table. So February, we got Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. That's going to kick off Phase 5. In the spring, we got Secret Invasion, followed up by Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 coming out May 5th. We got Echo coming in the summer. Loki Season 2 as well as coming in the summer. Then we get the Marvels in the middle of the summer with July 29th release. Blade is coming out in November. That one is sooner than I thought. I did not expect Blade to come that quick. Ironheart we're getting Agatha: Coven of Chaos in the winter. It says 2023/24. So I don't really know if that means they haven't made up their minds yet, or no, that means that it would go from 2023 into 2024. Okay, that makes sense. And then we got Daredevil: Born Again, which is going to go for like 4 months. It's an 18-episode series. Depending on how long the episodes are, that could be remarkable. Captain America: New World Order. We finally got official news of Captain America 4 coming May 3rd, 2024. And the Thunderbolts, which is apparently Marvel's Suicide Squad, coming July 20th, 2024. Wow. That's a lot. And to be fair, a lot of those titles we did know were coming, but it was really cool to get some information on them. So before we get into how the panel began, let's see what you guys are saying real quick in the comments here. We got Luke Ponto. Which one are you looking forward to more, Shazam 2 or Black Adam? Probably Shazam 2. I liked the first Shazam. I don't really know much about Black Adam, and I'm honestly like the Rock is a hype man. I understand that, but I'm kind of getting annoyed by him with how much he's promoting how Black Adam's gonna change the hierarchy and he's the greatest thing to come from the DC world. I'm kind of like, prove it, because the trailer didn't blow me away. The trailer didn't really um surprised me very much. It didn't blow my expectations away. I thought it was a fine trailer, but Shazam 2 looks like it continues that fun that I had from the first Shazam, so I'm looking forward to that. Lance Jackson, what's up, Zach? I just got done listening to a little James Brown music. I'm like, I can't wait for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Well, thank you for being here, man. Thank you. We're going to talk about all the Marvel stuff. Can't wait to get into it with you. Luke Ponto, what is your most anticipated movie of Phase 5? I mean, my number one in the top 10 that I did when I thought it was still Phase 4 was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So it still remains Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Thanks for asking, man. My wife's in here, Cassidy Mail. How much does Ant-Man suck on a scale of awful to horrible? She does not like my wife. This is my wife, by the way. She does not like the Ant-Man films. She barely got through the first film, and she got 20 minutes into the second one, and she asked me if we could skip it. I think Ant-Man Quantumania is gonna change your mind, hon. I think the third film's gonna be the one that you love. Mark my words. All right, so continuing on with the Comic-Con panel, they brought out some information on She-Hulk. I got a quote here that says the series is going to include cameos and characters that have not yet been revealed. It's labeled as a half an hour comedy series, which we kind of already suspected. We kind of figured, we already knew that it was going to be a comedy series. But the fact that they're promoting that it's going to have cameos of characters we haven't yet met, they're definitely trying to get the hype up there. What cameos do you think we're going to see, guys? Let me know in the comments below. We already got a little bit of a reveal of one cameo we might get by the end of the trailer. And from there, guys, they launched the She-Hulk trailer. We got the official She-Hulk trailer. We had a teaser. Now we've got a full trailer. As far as the trailer went, I liked it. I thought it was kind of fun. I like how it started off. I loved the humor that they had in the trailer with Hulk and She-Hulk. I loved how Hulk was mentoring her. I love this line where he was like, spandex. Spandex is your friend. I thought all that stuff worked really well. The CGI is still a little iffy, especially on She-Hulk. The more the trailer went on, the less I liked the look of it. And speaking of less I liked, there is a moment in it's two moments in the trailer actually where she breaks the fourth wall. This was the big one when Hulk kind of mutters to himself, if you just want to go back and be a lawyer, that's fine. And she turns and looks at the camera and says, he doesn't mean that. And Hulk kind of gives a look of like, what did you just say? Who are you talking to? That didn't play well for me. And this is the hesitation and fear that I have going into She-Hulk, is them breaking the fourth wall for the first time in the MCU. Because there is that verisimilitude about the MCU. It feels like its own place. It feels like a real universe, and they've worked so hard over the years to make it feel that way. To have a character now suddenly who's going to break the fourth wall and talk to the audience within this world, I'm a little bit nervous about it. Deadpool is coming into the MCU. He's established that way in the Fox universe when he was doing the Fox movies. Bringing him into the MCU, I have a little bit more of a leeway with that. I feel like that's going to work a little bit better than She-Hulk. It will be fun, though, if you get She-Hulk and Daredevil together and they're both breaking the fourth wall and realizing the other one's doing it. I think that could be fun. But when this happened in the trailer, I'm not going to lie, it made me pull back a little bit and go, ooh, I don't know how much I'm gonna like that. But I'm gonna keep an open mind. I'm gonna go into it with an open mind. And the rest of this trailer, it gave us more of the story that we can expect from She-Hulk. Apparently, new heroes are popping up everywhere. There's this guy flying around. This guy jumps out a window and is completely okay. Then we got this woman who like shapeshifts into an elf, which makes me kind of wonder if She-Hulk is going to further the story of the mutants being brought into the MCU. Now, I would not think that She-Hulk was going to be the show that was going to bring mutants into the MCU or like talk more about the mutant gene that's kind of going around the world. But the fact that they made Miss Marvel and announced mutants in Miss Marvel, now everything's on the table. And I think that this could be an indication that She-Hulk is going that route as well. We also got a little bit more of the story with She-Hulk. I can't remember the actual character's name, but she is representing Tim Roth's character, Abomination. She talks about how she has a conflict of interest because he tried to kill her cousin. So that's going to be a really interesting development. I'm actually really excited to see how that dynamic, how that relationship plays in She-Hulk. And we're going to get a scene. I mean, I'm in a show like this, especially where Mark Ruffalo and Tim Roth come head to head, face to face, and he's going to look at Mark Ruffalo and be like, "You look a little different." And like it's gonna happen because Edward Norton played in the Incredible Hulk. That scene's coming. I know it. Here's a little taste of what I think the first cameo could be. We got Wong in the trailer coming through the portal, coming to talk to She-Hulk, and of course the trailer ends with a pretty big eruptus bang. With this shot, they never show the face. They don't go any higher than the hips. But many people I've seen online suspecting that this is going to be our first introduction to Daredevil in the MCU. And you know what? If it is, I'm excited. I have not watched much of the Netflix Daredevil show. I think I've seen the first 2 episodes, but I couldn't come back to it. And then you got Luke Cage and Jessica Jones and all these other characters that you got to watch consistently with the show and then the Defenders. It just seemed like a lot. I got a little overwhelmed. So I am not familiar with the Daredevil from Netflix, but I'm thinking that the way that they're going to bring him into the MCU is they're going to introduce him in a way that new audiences like myself can learn about the character and meet him for the first time. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with Daredevil, if indeed that is him at the end of the trailer. Question goes to you guys. What did you think of the She-Hulk trailer? Are you excited for the show, or did it make you less excited for the show? Comment down below and let me know. I want to know all your thoughts and opinions about this trailer. And without further ado, let's take a look at what you guys are saying. All right, let's see where we're at in here. Luke Ponto. I'm definitely curious to see how they can pull off She-Hulk as a comedy series. Yeah, I mean, the comedy is working for me in the trailers for the most part. Like I said, I really liked the team up with her and Hulk was in this trailer a lot. I think he's going to be in the show a lot now. Like at first, with the first teaser, I thought maybe we'd get like 1.5 episodes of Hulk, or maybe just half an episode of Hulk. Now I'm thinking he's going to be throughout the entire show, and I'm kind of excited. Lance Jackson, Spider-Man 2 or Love and Thunder. Spider-Man 2 or Love and Thunder. Love and Thunder is okay, but I gotta go with Spider-Man 2 to be honest with you. If you're comparing Spider-Man 2 to Love and Thunder, I'm definitely going with Spider-Man 2. Is it Raimi's Spider-Man 2? Because that's like my favorite Spider-Man movie, so I'm definitely going with that. If you're going with Spider-Man Far From Home, I'm still going with that. I like that more than Love and Thunder. Oops. Louis Barry says Spider-Man 2. Oh, so you're responding to Lance Jackson. Yeah, I'd go with Spider-Man 2 as well, man. Luke Ponto. There are movies that break the fourth wall better, like Fight Club. Yeah, Fight Club's a good one. I mean, the fourth wall breaks in Spaceballs, I think, are hilarious. Even Deadpool, the way that he broke the fourth wall, even though he was like technically in that X-Men universe that Fox had built, he was adjacent enough from it that it didn't feel jarring to me. But yeah, that's a good example, man. Louis Barry. Black Panther 2 looks amazing and emotional. Rip Chadwick Boseman. I'm hyped for this. I hope for John David Washington as T'Challa / Black Panther, showing that he faked his death of Wakanda's safety. That's a pretty big prediction there, man. Yeah, that Black Panther trailer we're definitely going to talk about in a minute here. I thought it was really, really good, really, really cool. I don't know that they're looking to recast T'Challa. I mean, I'm on the same page as a lot of people out there. I do wish that they would recast the character, but they feel like they want to honor Chadwick Boseman by not recasting his character. So, gonna have to respect that. Luke Ponto. From what I saw from the trailer of Wakanda Forever, I'm not too excited to be honest. I liked the first movie, but didn't love it, and the fact that we lost Boseman has me worried. Yeah, I mean, going on from there, guys, let's just go on and talk about the Black Panther trailer. I mean, technically, the Black Panther trailer is the last thing that they showed at Comic-Con for the Marvel panel at Comic-Con, but I mean, it made a big hit. So first of all, this trailer, the first thing that I really noticed about this trailer, because we're all wondering how are they going to do a Black Panther movie without Black Panther? They're not recasting T'Challa. What are they going to do with this movie? Well, I noticed something right off the bat. It is very, and this is not a bad thing, very female centered. You got a lot of Angela Bassett in this trailer. She had some awesome lines. That one line that she has where she talks about how her whole family's gone. Have I not given it up all? Have I not given everything up? Like, she was phenomenal just in this trailer alone. There was a lot of presence by the Dora Milaje. I think that's how you say it. I don't know. They were heavily featured in this trailer, and we got our first little looks at Riri Williams as Ironheart. Looks like she's friends with Shuri. I love this shot of her, very reminiscent of the first Iron Man with Tony Stark building his first Iron Man suit in the cave. I think that's a really awesome shot. We got a little bit with Namor, who looks like he's going to be our villain. First of all, these underwater shots look incredible. I mean, we got Avatar Way of Water coming out in December, but they're kind of pulling the rug underneath that movie a little bit with these underwater shots because I think they look beautiful. I think Namor looks really cool. I love his throne with the Megalon job, the bones of it that he sits on. It looks so awesome. They did have a Chadwick Boseman tribute in here. We see graffiti of T'Challa on the side of a building at one point. That definitely pulled on the heartstrings. We see this image of Shuri. She's crying, obviously probably mourning her brother. This trailer was also really action heavy. And I thought the action in this trailer looked incredible. I thought it looked so good. But just when you think you're doing a Black Panther movie without Black Panther, the last shot of the trailer shows the butt, but it shows someone in a Black Panther suit with those claws out. They're gonna do something with Black Panther. They're gonna get someone else in that suit. It's not gonna be T'Challa, but I guess the game begins with trying to predict who is in the suit. Is it Shuri? Is it Okoye? Is it Nakia? Was that her name? I can't remember. But yeah, as far as this trailer goes, definitely a teaser. Doesn't give too much away. We don't really know much of the story. I thought it looked beautiful. I thought it looked exciting. I'm still worried about the movie, how they're going to pull off a Black Panther movie without Black Panther, even having someone new in the suit. It's not T'Challa, but I'm really excited to see what Ryan Coogler and everyone has cooked up for the Black Panther Wakanda Forever. And as far as this teaser, it did up my excitement a little bit more. What did you guys think of the Black Panther trailer that we got from Comic-Con? Did you like it? Did it up your excitement? Did it lower it? Did you not care? Comment down below and let me know all your thoughts and opinions. And without further ado, let's take a look at what you guys are saying. All right, we've got Luke Ponto up in here. Who really cares about Avatar 2 at this point? I mean, a lot of people still care. I think it's going to make a lot of money. I think it's going to still do really well, to be honest with you. And I'm one of those people that's actually really excited about Avatar 2. Even though I don't love the first Avatar, I still think Avatar 2 looks pretty cool. Luke Ponto. I already know the action in this one is going to be better in this one than the first movie. Yeah, the action in the first movie doesn't blow me away. It doesn't impress me all that much. This one definitely looked well. I mean, it's just a teaser, so obviously I can't judge the whole movie on it, but the action did look more exciting and did look like it was going to be better. So I agree with you there, Luke. I agree. All right. Well, 2 trailers down, but that's not it, folks. We got so much more to go because, as I mentioned, they broke down phase 5 for Marvel moving forward in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And not only did they break down phase 5, they actually gave us some details of a couple movies in there. So the first one up was, excuse me. The first one up was Ant-Man 3, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. They dropped this poster, which honestly I hate. I don't think the poster looks very good. I don't think it's very exciting. It's very bland to me. It's just a Wasp, Ant-Man, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be Cassie in the purple suit. She's going to join the team, standing in like a blue starry vortex, which has the face of Kang in the background. It's just, it doesn't get me excited. It doesn't look very interesting. I assume that's supposed to be them in the quantum realm, but as far as the first poster goes, I could have done a little bit better in my personal opinion. But we did get some information. We had Paul Rudd, we had Evangelina Lilly, we had Peyton Reed come out, and they kind of gave a little bit of the movie. So this comes to us from comicbook.com as well. We finally get to spend some time in the quantum realm versus the first movie. We'll introduce new characters and explore the quantum realm, which is not really what you think it is. Rudd was asked about Scott Lang's current status. Scott is pretty pleased with himself and his role in saving the universe. Rudd says So Scott's been kind of cooling out. He's been busy at work ish with a little book. I don't know what else I'm supposed to say, which all these Marvel guys, they're tight lipped. They have to be. They don't want to get sued. Lily is asked about Hope. Um, I think that's a typo. About having her on screen in the suit for the second time. Now we get to explore her vulnerabilities and her fragilities and the ways that she has to face those things and deal with those things. Being a powerful woman is only impressive if you do it against really difficult odds. So that's gonna be really fun. And Catherine Newton is welcome to Hall H. She's the new Cassie Lang. I'm pretty sure we saw her in Endgame. Cassie's just becoming who she is supposed to be. She said, "You can get to see that in this," and I don't want to say anything else. All right, so Ant-Man and the Wasp. They can't say very much, but we did get a little bit of stuff in there. The most intriguing thing to me is where Paul Rudd, Scott Lang, is at because he feels pretty high on himself for helping to save the world, and we saw a little bit of this in Ms. Marvel when he had the podcast. He had the Ant-Man podcast that she listened to talking about the events of Endgame. Now we kind of see where that's coming from. He's got a little bit of an ego going on. So moving on from Ant-Man and the Wasp, they also gave us some more information on Secret Invasion. Kobe Smulders was there. And she says Kobe Smulders promises that Secret Invasion is going to be darker than we're used to. It's going to be an exciting thriller, and you're never really going to know who people are. Are they a Skrull? Are they human? It's been so much fun to shoot, and I can't wait to compliment Samuel Jackson and loved her time working with him. She compliments the rest of the cast as well. Yeah, I mean, the relationship between Nick Fury and Maria Hill is one that I always wanted more of in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Kobe Smulders has been a part of this thing since I believe she popped up in Iron Man 2, but she's definitely been around since the Avengers since 2012. So 10 years now she's been around. It's about time that she gets some more screen time, some more things to do. I'm really excited to see her and Samuel L. Jackson team up for this show. And I like what she says about this show, saying that it's darker and that we're never really going to know who is who's a Skrull, who's a human. I think if they can pull off that dynamic, pull off that kind of thrilling atmosphere, I think this could be one of the best Disney Plus shows to come out of Marvel. Now, of course, it could also become a gimmick. Maybe no one's a Skrull. Maybe one person we saw for half a second in one episode was a Skrull, and we're not really going to care. But if they can land some big bombs, introduce us to a human character, then reveal it's a Skrull, and do that multiple times throughout the show and keep us guessing, this could be a really fun show to watch. So I'm really looking forward to seeing Secret Invasion when it comes out. I believe it comes out next year in the spring. Up next, we got some Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. We had James Gunn and the crew come out at Comic-Con. This was really cool. James Gunn said, "It was exactly 10 years ago this week I flew to Wilmington, North Carolina, where Kevin Feige was shooting Iron Man 3. Gunn said there he pitched Guardians of the Galaxy. It was the beginning of this journey. I fell in love with these characters. They aren't really superheroes. They save the universe a couple times, but really what they do is they save each other. When I started telling that story, I had sort of an end in sight." Excuse me. "This is the end of that story. Some stories have an end. Doesn't mean everybody dies." A couple interesting things in that quote there for me. Excuse me. Got some got some stuff in my throat today. First off, just the fact that they're getting the behind the scenes stuff a little bit more of knowing when Guardians was pitched and that was pitched during Iron Man 3, I think is really cool. I love the way that James Gunn speaks about the Guardians, how they're not really heroes, that they save each other. I think that's beautiful. But the one thing in this quote that I love the most is the fact that James Gunn says, "When I started telling that story, I had sort of an end in sight. This is the end of that story. Some stories have an end, but it doesn't mean everybody dies." Because we're all out here thinking that the Guardians are going to die because this has been told that it's the end of this iteration of the Guardians. But I love the fact that James Gunn says that ever since he pitched the first film, he had an end in mind. He had an idea of where this trilogy was going. That gets me even a little bit more excited for Volume 3 than I already was, because I love solid trilogies. I love trilogies that you can binge and they feel consistent. Now, the first Guardians is my favorite Guardians film. The second one's a little bit weaker, but I still really like it. Volume 3, if they can pull off this ending, make it as emotional, make it as satisfying as they could, this could be one of the best trilogies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do there. But we get some more. James Gunn goes on to talk a little bit more about Rocket Raccoon. And he says, referring to Rocket. He was the saddest creature in the universe, and that's what this story is about to a great extent. Gunn said of exploring Rocket's origins. So that's something I was not expecting in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. We're going to explore more of Rocket's origins. Now, the fact that they're alluding to this, the fact that they seem to be spending time on going back and telling us about Rocket, makes me feel a little bit, even though James Gunn just said not everybody dies, makes me feel a little bit like Rocket maybe on the table with the Butcher just hovering above him. That's a really dark image. I'm sorry about that. But it makes me feel like Rocket could be the one that bites it in this movie. The fact that they're going to spend time exploring his origin, talking about how sad he was in the universe, I feel like Rocket could be the one that bites it in the end. But on the flip side of that, it could be the fact that Rocket just has a character arc in this story, because in the first or in the second Guardians of the Galaxy, sorry, Rocket's character arc was about kind of working as a team, accepting them as their family. Maybe that's something they explore further in Guardians Volume 3. We'll find out with time. Coming up next, we got Karen Gillian. She gave a quote as well. She says Nebula has some levity now that Thanos has been removed from the picture. It's brought her some peace. Clementif, I believe that's how you say your name. I'm sorry if I mispronounced it, is asked about Mantis. Sean Gunn is asked about being Kraglin all along. The truth, oh, because he moves on his knees the whole time. The truth is that the most rewarding part of it has been working with my brother, he said, fighting back tears. It expands over the course of 3 movies. It's come to a point where it's not just about the joy of working with him, it's about the joy of working with other people. We were legitimately choked up watching backstage. We effing care. I'm sorry, but we do. We care. It extends to all of us. It extends to all of us. I mean, that's just beautiful. I just love seeing the family kind of dynamics that these cast and crew have, how emotional this movie is for them, the fact that it is their last one of their trilogy, the fact that you can feel the emotions even just coming through the quotes. I love that. Chris Pratt also went on to get asked about Star-Lord. He said, "We're all kind of having a moment to ourselves," Pratt said as he watched the trailer. He gets emotional, thanking Gunn. The pain of losing Gamora is a big part of his journey. I guess it's safe to say it opens up a vulnerability to the Guardians of the Galaxy to danger. He spends the movie trying to make up for the mistake of being checked out, buried under this enormous amount of pain. Now, I find that a little bit cool because mild spoilers for Thor: Love and Thunder, but in Thor: Love and Thunder, when we are with the Guardians in the beginning of the movie, that's kind of where Star-Lord is at. He's even talking to Thor. He's talking about how you got to find someone who makes you feel like crap, because he had that with Gamora, and now that she's gone, he feels horrible. He's kind of down. And I like that they're going to explore that and extend on that a little bit more with Guardians Volume 3. It feels consistent coming off Love and Thunder, so I think that's pretty awesome. All right, guys. So that's really all the deep information that we got about Phase 5. So the question goes to you guys. What do you think about Phase 5? I mean, Daredevil getting 18 episodes. I really hope more Marvel shows continue to go that route. Agatha gets a name change with Coven of Chaos. Are you looking forward to Echo? I now believe Daredevil's probably going to be in Echo because of the Daredevil show being 18 episodes long. But the question goes to you guys. What do you think about all these announcements from Phase 5? Comment down below. Let me know. And without further ado, let's take a look at what you guys are saying. All right, Luke Ponto. Luke Ponto says, I love the first Ant-Man. Ant-Man and the Wasp was good, but not great. Yeah, I mean, it's not as good as the first one for sure. I still like Ant-Man and the Wasp quite a bit. I think it's a fun movie. I know that when it came out after Infinity War, it was really kind of labeled as the palate cleanser for how dour of an end Infinity War was, and then how joyful and gleeful going into Ant-Man and the Wasp was. I don't think that holds up as much nowadays when you just watch Ant-Man and the Wasp on its own. It's a fine movie, but I still enjoy it. Lou Ponto. I know Guardians Volume 3 is going to be so emotional. Yeah, man, it sounds like it's going to be so emotional. I was already prepared for it to be emotional. Just the fact that it's the end of this iteration of the Guardians. It's going to be the third and final movie in this trilogy of the Guardians. But the fact that the cast is talking about how emotional it really is gets me thinking there's going to be some big tears during this movie. All right, guys. So, moving on one last time. Phase 5 is not the only thing that they surprised us with at Comic-Con this past Saturday. Kevin Feige got on stage and he gave us a little glimpse, a pretty big glimpse if you ask me, into Phase 6. and he pulls up Phase 6's timeline, which is missing a lot of stuff. So we'll talk about that for sure. We got, first of all, November 2024. So we still have quite a few 2 years to wait for this. We get the Fantastic Four finally gets a date. Now, as I predicted last week, or sorry, unlike I predicted last week, we did not get a director announcement. We did not get the cast announced. They're probably saving that for D23, which is happening in September. But I'm not going to lie, little disappointed that we didn't get anything from Fantastic Four except for the date. But still, it's cool to know that we only have to wait about 2 years before that finally comes out. This was the big one, though. They dropped that we are getting 2 Avenger films in the year of 2025. Now, Avengers Secret Wars is going to be the last one, November 7th, 2025. And I think a lot of people were kind of expecting Avengers Secret Wars. Some people were able to see where the breadcrumbs were leading. But Avengers, the Kang Dynasty, is the biggest surprise, I think, to come out of Comic-Con 2022. Comes out May 2nd, 2025. So just a couple months before Avengers Secret Wars. Now, with these timelines and with the announcement of phases, Marvel, they always switch around. They always change. They always add more stuff in here. Like, I'm convinced we're going to get a Spider-Man before all this stuff happens. I mean, there's only a couple slots to fill up here. I think we're going to get Deadpool 3 before all these Avenger films happen. I think we're going to get a Spider-Man 4. I think they're going to do the mutants. I think we're going to get X-Men stuff before the next Avengers film. So I could expect that Avengers movies, Kang Dynasties, Avengers Secret Wars, I could expect those to move maybe a year apart from each other. Maybe Secret Wars comes out actually in 2026. Maybe get pushed back just a little bit further to 2027. But the fact that right now they say we are getting 2 Avengers films just a couple months apart in the same year, Avengers the Kang Dynasties and Avengers Secret Wars. How do you not get excited about that? I mean, 2, that we've never had 2 Avengers films before in 1 year. That's really exciting. And they actually announced just a couple days ago, this wasn't at Comic-Con, that Dustin what's his name? Oh, Dustin Daniel Cretton, the director of Shang-Chi, has been tagged to direct Avengers the Kang Dynasty, which I think is very exciting. Shang-Chi is a really good movie, one of the best movies in Phase 4. I know a lot of people have it in like their top 5 MCU movies of all time. I'm not quite there, but it is one of the best of Phase 4. I thought that Dustin Daniel Cretton did a great job with that movie. I'm really looking forward to seeing him get pulled into the bigger sandbox and directing the Kang Dynasty. Now, if you're like me, you don't probably know a lot about the Kang Dynasty, and I don't know anything about the Kang Dynasty either. I mean, we met Kang in Loki. We're going to meet him again in Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. That's another thing I forgot to mention about Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. They're saying that they're going to bring in MODOK into this movie. MODOK, you know, that guy on the chair with nothing but a big giant head? I am so curious to see how they're going to pull that character off in the MCU. He's one of the most ridiculous comic book characters I think I've ever seen. And the fact that they're going to put him in the MCU with all these other, for the most part, realistic characters, I don't know how they're going to do it, but it gets me excited. But like I was saying, if you are like me and you don't know anything about the Kang Dynasty, you're probably a little bit curious of what this could be. Well, so was I. So I looked into it just a little bit. And I went to the good folks over at Fiction Horizon who gave a little bit of a description of what the Kang Dynasty in the comic books were. And the Avengers Kang Dynasty, they say at fictionhorizon.com, the Avengers Kang Dynasty could follow the events of the Kang Dynasty, which was a 16-part Avengers comic book series that details the war between Kang and the Avengers. The story follows the destruction of the UN and the death of the entire Washington, D.C. population and Kang's quest to conquer Earth. Now, those are some stakes. Those are some stakes if I've ever seen some. And I like that it involves the UN kind of being destroyed because when we go back to Civil War, the UN is the reason why we have the Sokovia Accords, which I think the Sokovia Accords are going to start to play a role when we get into She-Hulk, especially that they're saying all these superhero beings are starting to jump up and pop up everywhere. I think we're going to see the effects of the Sokovia Accords coming a little bit more. And I think we're going to see that with Damage Control, kind of similar to how we did with Miss Marvel. So the fact that the Kang Dynasty in the comics, he blows up the UN, I think that's something that could actually happen in the Kang Dynasty in the movies and just kind of put the whole world into chaos through that way. And then following up the Kang Dynasty, we got Avengers Secret Wars. Now, Avengers Secret Wars, I know a little bit more about than the Kang Dynasty. It came out in 1984. It was about 12 issues long. I've read some of it. I haven't read all of it. I've hardly read any of it, to be honest with you. But when it was coming out in the 80s, it was actually a pretty big gimmick. It was a way for Marvel to sell more toys. So they got all the characters together into one big issue and had them fight. And this comes from IGN.com. Um, Basically, the story is centered around a new villain called the Beyonder, who is capable of manipulating matter and energy on a cosmic scale. Using his omninet powers, he transports many Marvel heroes and villains to a distant planet of his own creation called Battle World. He stalked the planet with various pieces of alien weaponry and technology and challenged his captives to slay their enemies and achieve their heart's desires. So as a movie, that could be pretty cool. I mean, I don't know how they, if obviously Marvel doesn't just adapt straight page to screen of the comics. They take and they cherry pick the good stuff and they take from other comics and they put them all together to make a movie. So the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars are not going to follow these comic book arts totally together. But what's interesting is in the Kang Dynasty, connecting to Secret Wars, is in the comics of Secret Wars, one of the villains that gets put with the heroes to fight in Battle World is Kang the Conqueror. So I think what they could do to connect Kang Dynasty to Secret Wars is they're going to use Kang as the Beyonder's place, and Kang's going to be the one that collects all these timelines. Um, from Earth 616 to 838 that we saw in Multiverse of Madness. He's going to take all these heroes, all these characters from the timelines, and put them into the battle arena, and they're going to have to fight. I don't know how much more of a story they're going to get out of that. They have to get more of a story. They can't just be fighting for a whole 2.5 hours. But Secret Wars is a big, ambitious project for them to take on. I am so excited to see what they do with it. It could be really cool. And I mean, I only know this from my knowledge because if you guys know me, the only comic books I've ever read are Spider-Man related. And in Secret Wars, Spider-Man, that is where Spider-Man first comes into contact with the Venom symbiote. And when he gets back to Earth, that's when the story of the black suit and Venom start for Spider-Man. And we do know that Eddie Brock from the Sony universe left behind a little piece of Venom at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home in the post-credit scenes. I'm not saying they're gonna do Spider-Man 4 or Spider-Man 5 be the black suit after Avengers Secret Wars with Tom Holland. I'm not saying they're gonna do that. I'm just saying they very well could. The pieces are there for it to be a little bit more set up. I think it could be really cool to see Marvel do Tom Holland's version of the black suit Spider-Man. And by the time we get to Spider-Man 5 or 4 after Avengers Secret Wars, Tom Holland's going to be at the right age to pull off that kind of storyline. So I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's very well possible. And of course, guys, they ended the panel at Comic-Con with a bombshell that we are in a new saga. The Infinity Saga is over, and we have now entered the Multiverse Saga. There you go, people. You got your plan. Are you happy? That's where all this is leading to. Guys, I really enjoyed the Marvel panel at Comic-Con, but what did you guys think of all these announcements, everything that they showed at Comic-Con? Is there stuff that I missed? Comment down below. Let me know. I want to hear all your thoughts and opinions about all this stuff, guys. And without further ado, let's see what you guys are saying. And guys, with that breakdown, we are just going to go into your comments and questions. We're just going to talk for as long as you guys want about all this Marvel goodness, about whatever you guys want to talk about. So let's go back. Let's see where we were. Luke Ponto. There we go. Luke Ponto. It's interesting to see where Phase 6 is going. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's really exciting and interesting to see where Phase 6 is going. They're taking on a lot with the Multiverse Saga. They are taking on so much. And I saw an interview with Kevin Feige on the red carpet. I can't remember who was interviewing him, but he talked about how they're going to have different divisions set up. They have the cosmic, they have the street level, which we'll see with like Daredevil and She-Hulk. And they've got like the big stuff going on in the movies and the TV shows. There's kind of heroes all over the universe, and there's going to be all these different stories coming from all the different areas of the world. I think it's really cool. I think it's really ambitious, but I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do with it as a whole. Luke Ponto, if you want a good movie to watch over the weekend at the theater, I would recommend Where the Crawdads Sing. I'm actually going away this weekend. It's a long weekend in Canada. I can't remember which one it is. Family Day? I think it's Family Day. It's a long weekend in Canada, so Friday to Monday, I'm gonna be off I don't want to say camping with my wife's side of the family because it's not really camping. We're like renting out a house, but I'm gonna be hanging out with her family for the next uh for the whole weekend for the next 3 days. So I don't think I'm gonna make it out to the theater this weekend, but I'm kind of fine missing this weekend because next weekend's where it's at. Dude, we got Prey. I'm so excited for Prey, the new Predator movie. It's getting great reviews, which makes me even happier. I feel like I've been the only person anticipating this movie. I'm not saying that I was, but I've had this on my most anticipated list since like the beginning of the year. I think it was at number 10 or number 9, but it was still on the list. I didn't really see it on anybody else's lists. And the fact that it's getting so much good reviews, man, it's been the underdog of the franchise films this year. I'm so excited for it. And then we also got Bullet Train next weekend. We got Bullet Train. Oh my goodness, so much good stuff. I'm really looking forward to that weekend. Luke Ponto, if I were to do a watch along of The Lost City, would you be down to join? I don't own The Lost City. I don't have Paramount Plus anymore. I would have to find it, but yes, I would be down to join that, man. Thank you so much for asking. Luke Ponto. Destin Daniel Cretton did a phenomenal job directing the action for Shang-Chi, so I'm more than excited for Kang Dynasty. Yeah, man, I think that he really proved himself, and obviously Marvel saw it. Like, hey, you made a fantastic movie. Sorry, I just got a notification. You've got a fantastic movie with Shang-Chi. We think you can take on something even bigger. Here's Kang Dynasty. I cannot even imagine being Dustin Daniel Cretton. And one thing that it does make me immediately think of is Shang-Chi is definitely going to be an Avenger. I mean, we all kind of assumed he was going to be an Avenger, but now it feels like it's almost been like confirmed. Like the fact that they're bringing the director from Shang-Chi, Shang-Chi is going to be in this movie. I'm so excited for Simu Liu that he gets to be in this huge, ambitious film from Marvel. I mean, the thought of these being better than Infinity War and Endgame feel insane to even think that, but the fact that they could be gets me so excited. I cannot wait. Luke Ponto, what are your top 3 favorite performances from Ethan Hawke? Oh, Ethan Hawke films. I gotta go with the Before trilogy. I can't pick a single one, but I'll just go with the Before trilogy. I think he is pretty good in Boyhood. That comes to mind. And as much as that movie freaked me out, I think he was pretty good in Sinister. Those are the 3 that came into my mind right off the top. I would probably have to sit down and make an official list to really think it out, but that's what I got so far. Josh Jones. Hi. Well, hey, Josh. Thank you for being here, man. Happy to see you, man. Louis Barry. Moon Knight is one of them. Moon Knight is one of them. You think Moon Knight is one of the Avengers, or you think Moon Knight is one? Oh, you're probably thinking Moon Knight season 2 is one of the things missing from Phase 6. I could see that actually. I could see Moon Knight falling into another spring or summer release come Phase 6. I mean, the first season or the season that was put out this past year, I think did where am I going? Oh, there we go. I think did pretty well. People seem to really like it. I wasn't as high on it. I really liked how it started. It kind of fizzled and went downhill a little bit for me personally. But the performance by Oscar Isaac was great. Marvel doesn't want to let that guy go. I mean, you got Oscar Isaac in your back pocket. You don't just get rid of him. The thing with Moon Knight is it did feel so set aside within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like it almost didn't feel like it was even in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or that it didn't need to be. It just felt like its own thing. I don't know if they're gonna combine Moon Knight with the other Avengers. I don't know if they're gonna integrate him into the group. I don't know how well he would work, to be honest. He's such a different character. But a Moon Knight season 2, I definitely think is a possibility. I agree, man. Lou Ponto. Do you like musical movies? I do like musical movies. I don't necessarily seek them out, so to speak. But I enjoy them. I enjoy a lot of them. The most recent one I can think of that I watched was Steven Spielberg's West Side Story. I really liked that one. That one was amazing. That one was handled really well. La La Land's one that I really like. I love Singing in the Rain to get a little bit older. High School Musical. I grew up on High School Musical. Call it a guilty pleasure. Call it whatever you want. I still like those movies. So High School Musical is one. The Greatest Showman was pretty decent. Yeah, I like musicals. When there's good when they're good musicals, I like them. Um, Luke Ponto. Ethan Hawke is an actor that had me more interested in checking out more of his filmography after I saw The Black Phone, and he gave such a frightening and surreal performance. Yeah, I hear that he's pretty awesome in the Black Phone. I'm gonna watch that movie. I think I'm gonna watch that movie sometime next week, maybe tomorrow night. I think I have some free time tomorrow night, but I don't know, man. I mean, I'm so scared to turn it on. I'm so scared to hit play. Like like I was nervous going into Nope. Nope didn't end up being as much as a horror film as I thought it was gonna be, which I was kind of like pleasantly surprised from in a weird way. I mean, I'm sure some people were disappointed because they probably wanted more of a horror film. It wasn't too much of a horror film. I was pretty pleased with that. But yeah, the Black Phone is one that I'm a little scared to click play on. Luke Ponto. West Side Story grew on me after my second viewing. Yeah, I only watched it once when it landed on Disney Plus. I don't really feel the need to watch it again, to be honest. I mean, West Side Story is a classic story. I've seen the original. I think it's like, well, actually, it might not be the original. I saw a 1960s version of it, I think. The thing with West Side Story is, and this is like one of those things where it's a fairy tale and it's supposed to be kind of like one of those Cinderella princess kind of stories. The relationship is hard for me to buy into because I don't feel anything for the characters. You know, it's so based on just like first looks and just like, "Ooh, you're hot, I'm hot. Now we love each other and we're going to fight gangs to be together." There's not as much substance or depth, at least in the Steven Spielberg one that I previously watched. I didn't feel like there was much substance or depth to their relationship. There was substance and depth to the characters themselves, and I liked the characters. It was just the relationship of them coming together. I mean, it's done through music. It's a musical, so they do it through music, obviously. But for me, I was like, I want to see you guys spend more time, get to know each other, and then fall in love. You know, I'm I'm old fashioned that way, I guess you could say. Luke Ponto. Don't expect too much of a horror film when you watch The Black Phone because you will be severely disappointed. Then I'm gonna be pretty happy if it's not too much of a horror film. I'm gonna be pretty happy. Also, forget what you saw in the trailer. Well, I don't really remember the trailer. I only saw the trailer once against my will, and that was during Jurassic World Dominion. So I'm good with that, man. I'm a little bit I feel a little bit more easy putting it on. I'm like, okay, I can hit play on this. I can check this out. Luke Ponto. Also, don't go off of my hype for the movie. It's hard not to, man. You're a pretty big hype man for this movie. So it's hard not to. But I see where you're coming from, man, and I'll try not to get too hyped for the Black Phone if I even decide to watch it. I don't know yet. Well, guys, I don't mean to cut this too short, but my throat's actually doing something. I think it's a little sore today. So we're going to call this episode just a little bit early, but I want to thank all you guys for joining me. Thank you everyone who watched live, watched the replay. Thank you everyone once again who's listening over at the where is it here? Oh, there it is. At the Zach Milne Talks Movies podcast. Whether you're on whether you're on Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Samsung Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you to all the podcasters. Again, I was really surprised and pleased with the launch of the podcast because I'll be honest with you guys, when I just had it on Apple Podcast, it was cheaper. It costs more to put it on other platforms. And I'm very pleased with the outcome. And thank you guys so much for subscribing, for listening, for downloading, and supporting the podcast. Once again, guys, thank you so much for being here. I had a great time talking with you guys. And I'll see you guys again next week. Same exact time, same